Hello everybody, today I'm doing the proposed minimum requirement for Lolipop Chainsaw RePop, and it will be quite a basic video as the minimum requirement is Intel Core i5-8400, 8GB of memory and GTX 1060 6GB. No indication on AMD CPU, AMD GPU or Intel GPU. And no indication if it's 720p, 1080p, low settings, target FPS, who knows. First, quickly the disclaimer, I'm playing on a fresh install of Windows without any junkware, all the driver up to date and all the Windows update done. Also want to point out that I've enabled the RePop function, meaning that it replaces all the gore and blood for some unicorn vomit and some confetti, because YouTube. And I want to show actual gameplay footage. And second part, I don't have the i5-8400, the closest one I have is the i5-8600K, which is about 7 to 10% more performance than the 8400, but you shouldn't see any difference. Also went ahead and get the equivalent on the AMD side, meaning it will be the Ryzen 5 2600 and the RX 580 8GB. I've tried to talk as long as possible for the intro scene of the game so you can enjoy it, but now I'm done talking, so let's start testing. Let's start up with the written proposed minimum requirement, which is the i5-8400 will be replaced by the i5-9600K, 8GB of memory and the GTX 1060 6GB. We are obviously playing at 1080p and I left the graphical settings to default, which seems to be at high. And let me tell you that this game will be able to be played on almost any PC, because right now the 1060 is using 97 to 100% of precision and 4.7GB of VRAM out of 6. For the CPU, we are at 37% utilization, so even if I have 7 to 10% higher performance than the i5-8400, this game can be played on even lower, probably the i3-8100, who knows, probably even lower. For the memory, out of 8GB we're using 5.6, so they're really on point at least for the memory. So go get your office PC with the i5-8400 like a Dell or HP, had maybe even a GTX 1050 Ti will do the job at medium settings, and you can play that whole game. Nice fun game, drama-less game. Now on the AMD side, assuming the performance versus the i5-8400 will be the Ryzen 5 2600, and for the GTX 1060 6GB it will be the RX 580 8GB. Still at 1080p and the default settings, we reach exactly 47 FPS, 1 FPS more than the Intel and Nvidia variant of the proposed minimum requirement. So Dragon My Games Limited, I can tell you, if you want to match up the AMD side of thing, you can add the AMD Ryzen 5 2600 with the RX 580 8GB as the equivalent on AMD side on Steam page. But that is only if you want to match the i5-8400 that you already put and the GTX 1060 6GB, because it seems it can be even lower as we only using 3.4GB of VRAM for the GPU, so maybe the RX 580 4GB variant or even the RX 570, which is a 4GB card, should probably be enough. The CPU can definitely go lower as we're using only 27% of its power, and for the RAM, that's the only thing that seems to be right in first try. It's a 5.9 out of 8, some memory for the Windows, perfect. Tell me in the comment if you have played this game when it came out originally. Do you intend to play this game? And do you intend to buy this game to play it? By the way, it looks better when you don't do the RePop thing. It's way nicer with all the blood than the fluffy unicorn vomit. If you have played the original one, did you like it? If you have played the current one, do you like it? And that's it for Juliette from Lolipop Chainsaw RePop. Thanks to have come watching and see you in the next one.